Hi, pals. Hi, pals, and welcome to the Disneyland Paris Show. Here's your hosts, Lucy, Chris, and Hugh. Gosh. And now, Disneyland Paris News. Permit the Frog.
We have some reservations about this.
Baby, there's no fireworks. 2D or not 3D? That's all of them.
Did you not use my other one? Did it get rejected?
Oh, that was one of the other ones, but,
okay,
but
cool.
I just couldn't be bothered. Chris had suggested 2 song titles. He did one of them, but what was the other one? Do it. So, well, the other one was for the first bit of news. No, it wasn't. What?
It went something like this.
Oh, it was about the reservations.
It went something like this. If you give them all your cash, your dreams come true.
Yeah, we'll find out exactly what that means in a bit.
I know what that means. Anyway, hey there, hi there, hello there, Disney fans, and welcome to another 37 Disney Streets
Thing.
Disneyland Paris Show. I'm Lucy, this is Hugh, this is Chris, I'm sure we've met before. Hi, if it's your first time. We hope you're all doing well, we've all got Disney trips planned. I have literally just got off a 3.5-hour drive back from Birmingham, and I'm a little bit disorientated and my back hurts.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm going to leave the what's the word, charisma to you two tonight.
Crikey.
Yeah. Except any accidental charisma I may inject, which does happen sometimes. It just falls out of me when I least expect it to.
We can dial it up.
I've got audience charisma as well because I've got 3 trip reports today.
Yay!
If you have time.
We've got trip reports for days, bro.
coming out of the wazoo.
Yeah. What is a wazoo?
I don't know.
Is it your backside? Is it a type of faucet?
Didn't they sing Only You?
Maybe.
Or was that the Flying Pickets?
Oh. Anyway, should we do a bit of news?
Well, should we see who we've got in the chat first?
Oh, yeah.
Who are they? All about, please. Today, first in the chat was Joey, who says, "Hey everyone, can't wait for the show tonight." Good to have you along, Joey.
Hey, Joey.
As always. Dunn family, second in the chat. Yay, second in the chat. Hello, Aaron. Haven't been able to make it live for ages. We've missed you, Aaron. Good to be back. Kerry says good evening. There's lots of pink hands going on now. Kerry says good evening, pink hand. Jimmy says Jimmy has the original pink hand.
OG pink hand.
Jimmy says hi everyone. Bonnie's here and waves a pink hand. John says, "Hey friends, we got a bit of news today that John drew my attention to it, but we'll come on to that in a bit. Hey friends, just got out of seeing Frozen on the West End. Amazing show, wow, and off on the Eurostar first thing tomorrow to DLP.
No way! That's quite a double whammy right there. I'm jealous of that.
Emily will be tuning in tomorrow because the kids aren't asleep yet. So let's speak in soft tones, everybody. Hello to Louise Bell and, sorry, full name, you there, Louise, and Andrew. Andrew says, if I pay £20, can I get a better seat for this show? What could that mean?
Topical.
Well,
Lisa says, no better seat, just a nicer spot to stand. AP holders must feel a bit aggrieved, lose their park entrance to DLH, and having lost their reserved area, it's now pay-per-view on top of pricier pass.
we're on
should
to
talk about this,
We're on to the
shouldn't we?
commentary already. We haven't even done the news item yet. Chill your beans, please.
Let's just round up the rest. So we got Lisa and Faye and Jen, Pamela, Monica, Bob Sangwell in the house. Just a
Bob
brief visit.
Sangwell.
Just
Remember
a brief
him?
visit. I'll never forget him.
Bob wants us to do a quiz with chat Disney again.
Yes.
Yes,
We're up
I
for
want
it.
to do
But
that.
I
We're
think
up
we
for
have to.
We only just won
we have
last
to
time, I
host
think.
it this time, so we'll. I don't mean like we do the questions. I mean it'll be on our podcast instead of their podcast this time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And just rounding up, we've got Tracy and Cheryl and did I say Kerry? I'll say it again.
Say it again.
If I didn't. Scottish Claire. Hi everyone. First time I've been able to listen live for ages. We know Scottish Claire. We've missed you. You see how we can even do harmonies when we say the same sentence. Pamela has 225 days to DLH. That's Disneyland Hotel. Hope they iron out the issues before then. Hope they iron out the sheets. Fiona's here, as is Vicky. First time joining the chat. Only 271 days to go for us. Our old pals, not old, but she's a pal for ages. Susie's here.
Hey, Susie.
So jealous of everyone's countdowns. We've decided to wait until next year now. And then we've got Steve. Hey there, hi there, ho there. And Marcella and Paul.
Marcella's saying hello from, is that Brazil? There's a tiny flag. Is that the Brazilian flag?
Oh, it looks
Can
like
I
it
scratch
comes
off
from here.
Brazil?
Not right now because we have a list, but we can
Okay.
add it to the list of scratch offs.
And Paul's from tuning in from Riyadh.
Riyadh's on the list already.
Is it?
Yeah, from Paul.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, from...
It should be on the list already.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. What was the other one? Brazil.
In Brazil.
Excited.
Ginger Fox says Guten Tag.
I'm just excited about my map. I'm
Yes.
just excited about my map. I wish I was allowed to scratch off more than one a week.
I think you could.
I think I
Should
should.
we do one now?
Yeah, let's do it now.
Who are you going to do?
Huey, who am I going to do?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Do I
Now,
zoom in on Hugh to do
this
this?
is where I see how quickly I can get to an American state. I think that's up by the Great Lakes. Hang on, where's my finger? Great Lakes,
I'm
and I
still
think
whistling
it's
the
on
Brazil
that side of the Great Lakes. Am I
Brazil.
correct?
That song just makes me think of... I'm sure there's a Frank Sinatra version where he's singing Brazier, I dig a girl with no brazier.
Oh, my word.
Oh, hang on.
Which is how I knew how to pronounce brazier in a musical where we had to do American accents. Someone said... For some reason, I turned into the American correspondent and they kept asking me how to pronounce things in American accent. I don't know why.
Huh.
They say, Hugh, is it brazier? Is it? I'd say, well, according to Frank Sinatra, it's brazier.
I was correct about it being next to Great Lakes, but I got the wrong Great Lakes. I'm trying to do it like this, and I went right up there to Hudson Bay because I'm trying to look behind me. It's there.
Right, gang.
Right, gang.
First bit of news First bit of news I've got was Permit the Frog. It just is the only thing I could think of because there's a permit. Now, John Parker drew attention to this on our Facebook group. If you haven't joined on Facebook, look for the Disneyland Paris Show. And
37 Disney Street, the Disneyland Paris Show.
yes, and join in.
Do.
And John shared a link to the Instagram account DLP.works. DLP.works. Now, have you seen this? You heard about this?
Yes.
It shows the plans to revamp the north side of Disney Village.
Yes.
And
To Corporateville.
yeah, well, that's some of the complaints.
Welcome
So,
to Corporateville. Do not
um,
enjoy yourself.
Well, some of the comments on our group were Mercedes of Chat Disney fame says it looks the same but bland. Emily said
Like with the contrast turned down. Is that what it looks like?
Emily said it does make the panoramagique stick out. I'm biased as I loved the dated columns, so I can see from the outsider's eyes it needed updating, but I just wish they had some more whimsy and magic. And on the podcast, they said it was due to keeping the magic inside the parks for paying guests. That's a cop-out.
Oh, my God.
But I
Yeah,
feel
but
they're just
that's-
spoiling it for the majority of customers walking through, staying on
Yes.
site and are paying. And then Cheryl says, looks like Middlesbrough Town Centre.
That's such a gross attitude if true though. Like, you're not allowed magic unless you pay for it. Do you know what I mean? We all know that's the reality. Here's the big park. Give us a ticket entry and you can go in. But
then
like
you can pay more
denying anyone outside it any happiness it's something like weirdly that's out of a fairy tale itself, isn't it?
I found the image on DLP.works, if you've not seen it.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Well, yeah, but
Come
that's
on.
because it's got a nice sky and some twinkling lights and some trees. It'll look rubbish when it's done, won't it?
Oh, you don't know.
I do know, compared to like artist renditions, they're never the
Have
same.
you seen DLP report put a picture from Panoramagique today showing Rosalie and then up the village.
I didn't know.
And from Rosalie's got all this wonderful paving, like that just really sits and fits really nicely with the theme. The theming, it's not theming, is it? But with the look and feel of that building, and then the rest of it's just like this really weird patchy tarmac. I think they've taken all the boards down this week as well, haven't they?
Right.
And so all the hoardings that were up in the middle of the village aren't there anymore, and all the holes that they dug in the floor have gone, and now there's just like patchy tarmac all the way up. It looks amazing. Honestly, it looks great. But there's a thing for me about all of this, and there's going to be a theme, I think, when we talk about other things today, which is this. Everybody who reports on Disney at the moment just seems to be so down on it all, and I find it really, really difficult to get up and excited about what's happening in the village.
Yeah.
About new charges for things that people didn't have to pay for before.
Speaking of which,
there's just all these things. It's like they're just piling them on, one on top of another, just to make things as miserable as possible. And all these outlets who've spent, like media outlets and tiny little podcasts like this one, who've spent ages talking about the magic and how fantastic it is, and all these brilliant things. It's getting harder and harder and harder every week to focus on the magic stuff, because it just feels like they're dragging everything down all the time.
And you know what? I've left outlets because of negativity, and I don't like to be down, and I like to be like, be the magic. You all know that's our saying, isn't it, Bonnie? Be the magic. But it's not just the upselling and the price and the cost and the extra nickel and diming and stuff. It's actually removing things in a strategic way. Removing benefits, removing characters from a village location, you know what I mean? It's that it just feels really like Scrooge McDuck. There's a Disney
I think
restaurant.
we're in a transition period, and we'll probably come out the other end of all of this and start feeling a lot better about it. And I do think we still need to focus on the magic, because it's important. Because if you go there, you're going to have a good time, and you're going to come back with some magical stories to tell, and hopefully you'll send us a trip report. And those things, the trip reports really pick me up as well, to be honest with you. So,
but you see, I blamed Chapek for everything, and we don't have that excuse anymore. It's pretty much like I've blamed the Tories for everything for the last decade, and then eventually they won't be there, and I'll have to blame someone else.
It's not going to get
any better.
Yeah. Anyway, miserable rant
but
over.
they're consolidating some of the shops into fewer shops, bigger but fewer shops.
Right. Yeah.
I can't remember what combination.
But isn't that a load of the shops are like you walk through to the next ones anyway, aren't they? So there already is one big shop, really.
Yeah. But, well, actually, I wonder what they're doing that with, because the Disney store was already one massive shop, wasn't it? And then you've got the sports bar, followed by the Art of Disney, followed by New York Sandwiches, followed by the Disney
Lego,
Fashion, and then Lego.
But Fashion and Lego have already got a door through to each other, I think.
They have, but the thing is that they're not going to combine into one shop. So the actual Disney shops aren't consecutive, because the one at the end was a toy shop, and then it was a glass shop, and then I can't remember what it was before it closed. But you know, it sold children's dressing up stuff. So it went Disney shop, Lego shop, Disney shop, sandwich shop, Disney shop, sports bar. Mm-hmm. So it's not like there's 3 consecutive shops that they can just knock through to make one shop. So, I mean, I don't know who would be devastated if New York Sandwiches went, really.
We've never been in there, have we?
I have a couple of times.
I didn't know it was there. You've just mentioned something
I
didn't know about.
They had a really limited menu. French fast food places tend to do this, you know, when they've got 3 set menus of 3 different sandwiches, and that's it. So it wasn't like going to Subway or like going to Earl of Sandwich or something.
It wasn't a world of flavour.
No, it served a purpose. There was always people in there. There was always a queue, but it was just somebody trying to get substance to put in the mouth, basically.
Steve, thank you. Steve says the magic is still there, guys. It's so great at DLP.
Oh,
let's just
remember
that.
I think it is. The cast members are still there. The Imagineers are still there. All that's still there. There's just some evil person in a grey suit trying to rob you.
I want to drink,
pocket.
But then we are going to get onto something that is still negative. So just hang in there, guys.
Drinks do cheer me up.
Hey, it's showtime! All together. Your tiki 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 cup in your tiki 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 cup. Well, you made yourself a beverage, I'll drink it up from your tiki 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 cup.
Chris and I today, I don't have one for you, Lucy, I'm afraid. We're having Bud Lime, which we've had before on the show. Not sponsored, but you can do. we'll happily take sponsorship. We're not big enough. Non-alcoholic beer with lime flavour.
What's up?
What's that?
Bud Wise.
So what do I have then?
You've got your
Cherries and berries.
You've got your cherries and berries cordial.
Do you want to show the other thing that we've got, and we'll have a quick talk about that, because that's kind of
now. I'll flash these up and see Lucy's journey of disappointment. Right now, I flashed those up, listeners, for the benefit of the listeners, and it was a purple and yellow packet, and there seemed to be a kind of a twirly shape on there.
Swirl, yeah.
Like what? What is that? What is that? Does anyone see what that is? Is it a bag of twirls? Well, to Lucy's chagrin, it isn't. It's a pack of Takis, which Chris has been talking about for a while. Blue Heat.
Blue Heat.
Hot chili pepper, artificially flavoured tortilla chips. But
We
Chris,
had a request this week.
we had a request. Well, let's pull up the requests.
Yes.
Someone's asked us on the group. Actually, let's just find the thing.
Let's just find the
let's
thing.
find this thing.
As you know,
Right.
we like to try spicy things. While Hugh's finding things, we like to try spicy things.
Here it is.
And this week,
Emily says,
Emily said, yeah.
I have a request. One day, could you do a chili sauce tasting session, but give us a heads up of the sauce used so we can try alongside? Kind of like almost like a play at home. I think this is what I said in the comments. I said, like a play along at home episode of Hot Ones. I'm not even a big spice lover, but I crave it whenever you're both munching away. A taster set of mini sauces would be awesome if there's such a thing. Well, yeah, we need to curate like a little,
We can do something. I'm
like,
sure we can.
probably Icona hot sauces are the most widely available.
Yeah, it needs to be something that you can
So
get hold of.
yeah, we'll provide a list. We'll give you a couple of weeks, and then you can all try along at home, maybe.
But-
Cheryl loves the idea.
These are, I mean, they're not super well available, but you can get them in any of those places that sell American sweets and stuff tend to have them. So I thought we could try these today, or we could wait a week, and if you want to go get yourself some Takis Blue Heat, here you go, Takis Blue Heat. Takis Blue Heat.
Takis.
Takis. And you could get some of these,
Moam.
and you could try them with us. And that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'd say next week, but you know what?
Oh, yeah, okay.
We've
You've
just-
got 2 weeks then.
We've just discovered we're probably going to have next week off because Lucy and I won't be back in time from a London matinee
Of Hadestown.
of Hadestown. So Chris is going to have a week off, we think. So we're going to have a week off, guys. So in 2 weeks, Takis, we'll remind you on the group.
Blue Heat Takis, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yes.
But
But
can we get onto this bad news?
Yes.
We have some reservations about this. Now, DLP are introducing a reserve viewing areas for Stars on Parade and Dreams.
woohoo!
So for 19...
Free. Oh.
No. So for €19 per person per show, it claims to, this is from them, ensure guests a breathtaking view of the most popular outdoor shows. We don't know where the new viewing area is yet, but limited spots will be available in the app, the DLP app. So you can puke a load more cash into your holiday starting from March 28th, 2024.
I love the idea of this being like, you know, when you go to a football match and there's like the official car parks, but then also there's like touts who've got a patch of land,
Right.
and you can pay like £6 and you go and park on a hill somewhere. I'd love it
Yeah.
to be like that. Just guys in like a guy in a dodgy cap with a big cardboard
Yeah.
sign, and you can just go and pay slightly less and go and stand on a hill somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone like this idea?
Well,
Who's not like minted?
Bob
mean-
Iger.
I wouldn't. I did one of those my eye rolls that gives you an actual headache when I saw this. You know when you get a strain in your optic nerve.
Yeah,
because
and you can
see
actually
your own
hear the
brain.
eyeballs squeaking around your sockets.
Exactly, and it was like, of course. And every outlet that I saw reporting on it was putting something pithy at the end, something sarcastic. Then I thought about it. The general populace is not losing anything in theory because there used to be a reserved viewing area for the Infinity Pass holders. Now, if you remember, I was never really a big fan of that. I'm like, you pay for your annual pass, and yes, you pay for the extra blackout days and all that kind of thing, but that was already getting a bit of an us and them thing. But if once you'd come to terms with them having the reserved viewing for Infinity Pass, they've not taken anything else away. They've just taken it away from annual pass holders and are making them pay more for it. The thing that makes me eye roll is that it's just yet one more way that Disney have looked at their assets, look at the service they're providing, and said, how can we not give anything else but get more money? You know what I mean? It's like they don't have to invest anything or change anything. At most, they might need a couple of cast members to man it. It's just a way of squeezing blood from a stone, basically, isn't it? It's like, how can we get more money? And that just leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. So it's not going to ruin my holiday. I'm certainly not going to pay for it. It is what it is. But it's just so blooming typical.
Do you know what's patronising about it as well? They've priced it at €19. Now, they could have put it at €15. And actually, quite a few more people might have gone, yeah, all right then, fair enough, €15. If they put it at 20, people would have gone, don't be ridiculous. But they put it at 19 because they think that people just go, oh, well, that's under €20. That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, they might have done it at 19.99. You know, like I hate 19.99. I'm not an idiot. I know it's 20 quid.
Do you know what else has always annoyed me about anything that is a per person edition, such as Premier Access, Genie Plus in America, that kind of thing, is it really handicaps families and larger families in particular, because this is meant to be kind of, well, no, it's not just a family experience. We're all Disney adults. We know a lot of Disney adults without children. We know a lot of people who take their grown-up children. I'm not just saying that. But when you have a unit where there is a single bill payer, it really handicaps them. So if you go with 5 friends...
Boom, 100 quid.
Exactly. You go with 5 friends, each of you pays $19. You might all agree
quid.
to do that. But if you go as a family of 5 and the highest earning parent, be that, you know, mother or father, is paying for the holiday and has to make the decision for this, like you say, boom, it's 100 quid. And that doesn't feel right. It feels very lopsided, and it feels like you're giving advantage to a group of people who might not need an advantage in this situation. I've always thought with Genie Plus and things, it should be like you pay 15 for you, and or that minors come free with an adult, paying adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it feels so wrong that people should be disadvantaged this way. And I'm not like, I know Dunn Family is saying Disney Adult and Proud. I'm not saying that a Disney Adult should be disadvantaged. It's just that you pay for yourselves individually, whereas, you know, families, one person pays for 5 people, and it's difficult. That's my thinking on any of these upcharges. I'm going to get off my soapbox now so someone else can step
Do you
up.
reckon they'll add it into Premier Access and make it another part of that so they can up that, make it more like €200?
I think they'll see how profitable it is.
Some of the comments on the Facebook thing, and so who shared this originally? It was Cheryl shared this via dedicated to DLP, although we have seen it in many places. So some of the comments there are, Andrew says, will this be temporary seating or a roped off area? Either way, best place to stand might be just behind this area.
Especially as no one's going to pay for it, so it'll be empty.
Katia says, now this is quite sad. Have really gone off Paris, as everywhere I turn into, I am paying premium prices for basic stuff that in other parks is a free virtual queue. Already feel like cattle, everyone fighting in front of the castle to get a view and disrespecting each other. So now I'll have even less space for normal unpaid views. Another response, though, was Jodie said, hopefully enough people will be happy to pay it that the other areas are a little less crowded.
No, that won't happen.
Wishful thinking, I know.
Yeah. Because it's going to be limited. So it's not like, 200 people pay for this. It's going to be limited to like 50 maximum probably. And it'll be in a very small area. And then everything else will be a free-for-all.
Okay, so just trying to bring back the magic a little bit. Let's all say one positive thing about this.
I like this. There's who is it that used to do this? There was like a podcast where you had to one person just had to talk positively about something, and the other was just negative. What else was it?
For you once in your lifetime,
is a Disney
trip goers who are throwing everything at this, it gives them or people who are going for limited time, it gives them an option to get a better viewing if they are able to afford it.
So I build on that and say that for people who have fought for years to find a place to watch it and ultimately given up and don't bother with it anymore, there's a way that they can now pay to be able to see that. So I guess that there's a slight, yes, you're right, it's an expense, but if you're the kind of person who like you absolutely love that and there's no way that you're going to spend that time waiting trying to fight for a place anymore, this is your opportunity to have it.
My positive thing is I think it's nice that for once rich people are getting a break.
Yeah, Leave off the rich people, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I mean, we've said many a time that we very rarely stay for or watch the fireworks at Disneyland Paris because we don't like the process of finding somewhere to stand. I find that whole 45 minutes before the fireworks start so stressful. Because even if you do find somewhere you think's good, somebody comes in and pushes out of the way. Often, you're
Or
in
just
multiple.
the head appears literally next to yours over your shoulder, and then you look at them and say,
there's often a
help
language
you?"
barrier and a culture barrier and a general manners barrier with the people that you're, trying to negotiate these things with. So we tend to we don't watch them often, and it'll be for a reason, like they've got a new show or something that'll bring us out. We'll go next time because we want to see this drone show. Now that brings us on to, I believe, another piece of news.
Was that a segue?
That was a segue.
Segue.
baby, there's no fireworks.
Baby, there's no fireworks.
A bit of musical flair there, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm here all week. But not next week.
Not next week. Chris, tell us about this because I was only vaguely aware of this when you mentioned it.
They're doing
earlier.
a test this week. They're doing a test.
Mhm.
So basically, the Disney Dreams thing, spectacular,
Yeah. Extravaganza.
for this week, starting today and running till the 9th,
Mm.
they're doing it at 7:30 and at park close. But at the 7:30, there'll be no fireworks because if they had fireworks, they'd have to close Fantasyland. They don't want to close Fantasyland because they want people to go and use it. But I guess they're testing to see if people want to go earlier. But also, all these discussions about crowds and stuff, what it could do, if you're not bothered about the fireworks side of it, is give you another opportunity to see this show. And therefore, there's a bit of choice suddenly. I personally think this is potentially a really positive thing.
I think this is
yeah.
excellent.
It is good.
So there you go.
Yeah.
We found a really good Disney
Hooray.
thing here.
Finally, something good.
And for
thing
19
is,
euros, you can...
just as we've done these two news items back to back, it very well be that they've been taking guest feedback, and the guest feedback is loved it, fireworks are a nightmare, which we've said for years. So they've taken that and they've come up with two solutions. A, they're like, well, we're going to profit off that problem. If there's a problem, there's a profit. And then they've gone, we're going to solve that problem by doing this. And I think that's all right.
Maybe
Well,
is this what this €19 is for? Does it pay for the extra expense of putting on two shows?
Possibly.
But there's so many benefits. Go on.
So I was going to say, yeah, there are benefits because when you're a family as well and your kids fall asleep,
Yeah.
you want to be able to watch. There's so many in the Facebook groups and everywhere. There's so many people want to know what time the fireworks are. It's at closing time. If anyone asks, it's at close. It's when the park closes. But when you've got young kids, staying until 10, 11 o'clock at night, it's virtually impossible.
Well, yeah, our friend's son was literally falling asleep on his shoulders, on his dad's shoulders.
He was
last
very
time we
upset.
went.
It was his decision to stay for the fireworks. He was 5, and we'd all stayed all day because he really wanted to see the fireworks. And when it got to about 10 minutes before the fireworks, he started going, I want to go to bed. When a 5-year-old is painfully tired. And it were really quite sad then, because then we were going, well, no, not we, but his dad was going, no, we've stayed all day so you can see these. And it's better at 7.
So I'm interested to know something because obviously there's a partial thing, which is there are no fireworks for the early ones. So that's potentially a downside. But there was a period, wasn't there, back in, was it in 2021 when it first all opened up again? They weren't doing the fireworks, were they? They did the parade, but no fireworks.
Yeah.
And they got LEDs on that's when they first put all the LEDs and stuff on the castle, and they've made it a little bit different, haven't they? I didn't see that. I don't know whether you did or not, or
did.
anyone in the chat did. But did it matter? Because I kind of think actually, is it going to make a huge difference?
As Kira says in the chat, honestly, Dreams is already mainly a projection show.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, it has to be, otherwise they wouldn't get away with this. Do
Steve-
you know what I mean? They would have nothing to actually play.
Steve says, for me, Disney Dreams is way too long. Does anyone on here agree?
I also wonder...
Well, now it's twice as long.
Do you know what? I do, actually. I do agree with that. I've often kind of been a bit, right, I've got it now. I wonder if this is a move towards not doing fireworks as well, because they've been going in with the drones. They've now got the fountains that they can do projections on the fountains. They've started projecting up Main Street, and they keep adding all these things that aren't fireworks. And the latest rebranding of the show had significantly fewer fireworks, and fireworks are expensive on a nightly basis in a way that projections and drones aren't. I mean, yes, there's upkeep for the drones, etc., but once they're programmed.
The other interesting thing is to think that when Frozen Land opens and the whole lake's there's going to be stuff over there, presumably, as well. So there's a whole lot of changing in terms of nighttime spectaculars and stuff, isn't there?
Lisa says, it's really good for little ones to see the show. My eldest fell asleep before it started on the other half's shoulders. Michael, I think this is in reference to the previous news. I suffer panic attacks, which is not a valid disability to get the access pass, but I would probably pay the €19. I think if the value is good to you personally, you'll pay it.
Absolutely. This is what we've said about Premier Access all along as well, isn't it? To us, we find it hard to see the reason behind it, but there's loads of people who have told us when they've used it and why they've used it, and I totally get that. If it's right for you, it's right for you. There's no question of that.
There's a lot of people who are like, well, actually, it wasn't because we couldn't be bothered to stand in line. This was happening and that was happening and the other, and we decided to do this. And in that case, that's absolutely fantastic that there is that option open to you.
Nat says, we ended up sitting outside Casey's Corner to watch fireworks with a beer, and while we couldn't see 100% of it, it was pretty good.
And you got a little bit tipsy.
Yeah. Kerry says, I love dreams. I do too, actually. I have one almost every night. The Dunn family says, dreams is a no from us. Steve loves the electrical sky parade better than the previous show. Nat says, the sky parade reminds me of the light night parade at Disney World on the water by the hotels.
Oh, yeah.
We love the, what's it called? The electric water pageant.
Yeah.
Joey says, sorry to be a pain, but could Chris turn his microphone up a little, please?
Oh, interesting.
Great comment.
Yes.
Comment.
I'm peeking in the right places. I think the problem is.
Had you turned away?
You turn and
when
talk
I turned
to
to
me,
you guys,
don't you?
yeah, this is it. Last week I turned myself around, but this week I haven't. Hang on a second. Let me reposition myself and see if that helps.
Jen would pay €19 if it meant no one stood in front of me with a phone.
No.
Thing is, even if you do pay that and you go in, there's still people in there with you. How good is this view?
So this is our minimal experience of this. In Disney World, we did a dessert party, and what the dessert party is you go in about an hour and a half before the fireworks, and there's like a buffet with little canapé style desserts and hot chocolate and cider and sparkling wine and stuff, and then you get a reserved area for the fireworks. I suppose it's a bit like this, but they actually feed you for your money. And once we got into this, it was like one of the garden areas in front of what's it called? I suppose the equivalent of where Crystal Palace is. It's kind of one of the garden areas there. And there will have been about 50 to 60 people in that area. So it really wasn't much less condensed than anywhere else. The only thing is that you didn't have to fight for it. It's like, this is where we're going to stand.
I seem to have a memory of someone standing up in front of us, though, because we're all kind of chilling out on the fake grass, and then someone stood up and we all had to stand up. Or maybe when it actually started, they sat back down and we were relieved. I remember it wasn't actually that bad. It wasn't as bad as usual.
It wasn't as bad as being elbowed in the ribs and shoved past and all that kind of thing, because it really was. Everyone there kind of knew that's where they were going to be and just stood there. But it doesn't mean there isn't going to be a child put on the shoulders right in front of you, because it was quite far back and it was an open area. So I all that was still going on.
If you're lucky enough to go a few times to these places, like me, after a while you kind of decide what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. And for me personally, and for us as a family, we've seen the fireworks enough that we don't often stay for them. We'll try and do it once. If we go to Florida for 2 weeks, so we're going to catch it once maybe, but it's not a massive priority for us anymore. We'd rather not get involved with the scrum.
You see, for me, my favourite nighttime show in any Disney park that I've seen is Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios, because it's in an amphitheatre and you sit down and you get in there about half an hour before it starts, and they do Mexican waves and there's a little bit of pre-show entertainment while they let everyone settle and go to the loo and stuff. And then you just sit down and watch it, and it's brilliant. And it's just such a shame it can't all be like that.
See what Kira said. When it was an AP area, 90% of the people sat down, but sometimes there would be some jerk right at the front who decided to stand. We had that when we were watching the show in front of the castle, the Princess Parade thing on the stage there, and everyone was sat down, and it was perfect. And as soon as the show started, one, I don't know if it was a kid or I think it might have been an adult, stood up right at the front, and everyone had to stand up then. I don't know what for them changed when they stood up, that made it better than when we were all just sat down.
This is what happens at football.
I do not get it.
It's exactly what happens at football. You sat down watching the football, and then the people in front of you stand up because something's happening.
Yeah.
Even though they can see, they don't have to stand up. But as soon as they stand up, everyone else stands up, and then everyone stood up.
This is controversial. Standing ovations in theatres.
Oh,
because
it's really frustrating.
They've become too common.
Sometimes I am compelled to
common.
stand up, but quite often I stand up because it's that, or look at the butt cheeks of the person in front of you.
If anyone watches The American Office, when they all go to watch Andy Bernard in Sweeney Todd, there's a bit at the end where everyone stands up, and there's a close-up of Stanley, and he rolls it. He gets up really reluctantly, and he rolls his eyes, and that is exactly what I do. And we went to see
Percy Jackson
Lightning Thief at Leeds the other day, the musical, which Lucy assisted and directed. And when we stood up at the end, I thought, no, I'm not going to stand up. But then I thought, I'm going to have to now because I can't see. And then Lucy said, oh, did you just do a Stanley? And I totally did. I went, oh.
When you went to see Hamilton in Manchester, did they give a standing ovation?
I think they did, yeah.
It's every
they did
show
put that in
now.
there.
It's every show.
It doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. I like to do a loud, not overly fast, just a loud, slow clap when I appreciate something.
Yeah.
And that'll do.
I think back to Disney Park, so I think we should normalise sitting cross-legged on the pavement the way that the Japanese do. That's how they watch fireworks and parades, and I think it's glorious.
Oh, amazing.
And they're all so polite.
Japan is it's just a dream.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a dream for the well-ordered introvert.
You can go to these places that are so busy, yet everything's just working, and people aren't being rude.
Yeah.
Train stations, fast food restaurants, they've just got it down.
Someone in the underground was walking along, just swinging their arms wildly, and they hit me in the crotch. And they never said a word.
In London?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on a tube once, and
Heathens.
I was holding onto the pole, and a lady came on and stood next to me. We were all cramped and really tight. Now, I didn't know at first, but after about 30 seconds, I looked around, and the thing that was resting on my hand was a boob. At which point, if I then moved it, she would have known it had been there for 30 seconds because she knew she was resting against something. She thought it was a pole. It was actually my hand. So then I thought, when do I say something? Something like this happens in Peep Show. Does Sophie sit on his hand on the bus?
Oh, I don't remember that.
So, I think I can't remember. But yeah, so I just had to endure it. It was a very intense few stops.
Was it a bumpy ride?
Yes, it was a bumpy ride.
My.
I think now, because I'm a bit older, I'd have just gone, excuse me, your boob's on my hand. Sorry, but your boob's on my hand. Can you not, please?
Oh, good God. I think we've gone a little off kilter here.
Oh, you think?
But earlier show times, Sun's fireworks, I'm a fan. I think we might cash in on that next time we go.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, personally. Hopefully they keep it going. Hopefully it's a successful test.
Actually, cash in on it in the way that I might be tempted to stay for the later show, hoping there'd be fewer people, see if it works that way around.
Well, yeah, particularly that there's less likely to be families with young kids there, which means there's probably less push chairs there, which means there'll actually probably be more room there.
And less children on shoulders.
I just willed the postcard to fall off the wall behind you, and then it did it.
That was amazing, Chris. Well done.
I was looking and thinking that could fall off, and then it did. Really?
Do you know, I just stuck that back up about half an hour ago.
That's really strange.
Joey's talking your language, Lucy. Joey says, the first time I saw the fireworks was on my birthday, and the cast members moved me to sit right at the front. Lucy, you would be proud, as I sat cross-legged and statue still in amazement throughout.
Oh, my God. That's what we should all do.
Legs crossed, arms folded.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is,
Fingers on lips.
I married a man with an extremely high standard of behavioural expectation.
And what did you do with him?
If you were, if you're gonna eat in a public place, cinema, theatre, you have to do so absolutely silently. Absolutely.
I
certainly.
don't make any outward noise in theatres, in cinemas, on the bus. I don't touch anybody. I don't encroach on anyone's space. I do not comprehend why everyone else is doing that.
Are
And
you
when-
one of those
and when
people who,
it's-
when they've got earphones in, you deliberately breathe really quietly just in case it makes too much noise?
Yes.
Probably.
And when the show's ended, he picks up his belongings and he turns to his left or his right and he walks in an orderly fashion directly to the door.
Or I'm always the first outside. If I'm on my own, I would be outside so fast. In fact, I once left the theatre so quickly that
He'd be like a buttered clam.
the members of staff looked surprised, like I'd left early, but I was just that fast.
Right.
We got one more bit of news.
More news.
One last bit of news was.
last bit of
Have you
news.
seen this? You heard about
I
this?
thought we had 4 bits of news.
Yeah, we've done 3.
Well.
2D or not 3D.
Oh, yeah. I forgot
This
about
is via Disney File Live. Disney File with PH. Disney File Live. And inside the magic, I found this. Did you know they are trialling Ratatouille in 2D to see what guests think of it, with a view to possibly scrapping the 3D element?
This has happened in Universal or somewhere as well, hasn't it? With a ride, I saw that as well this week. But they've been trying it for a while, and then they've axed it. Was it a Kong one? And they've just axed the 3D altogether.
I don't think it could hurt, to be honest. I mean, it's 4D with the smells and the props and the heat and the flames and all that stuff is what makes it 4D. And I think that immersive element is enough to not need the 3D.
I've said many times on this show, the 3D doesn't really work very well. I don't know if it's something to do with my eyes or because I'm wearing glasses, but it's the same with Flight of Passage. I said this on my last video. I said, is it me or is it blurry? Is it blurry to everyone else? Not completely blurry, but the 3D isn't that impressive to me.
Yeah, it's like, that'll do.
I think
Yeah. And the Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Star Tours?
Yeah, I mean, the 3D is like, it's okay. I can see the 3D, but I'm never like blown away. I think the best 3D I've seen is in the Muppet Vision thing in Florida.
you sat still. You get a better view. Particularly, there's been lots of tips videos on Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom where there's certain rows where you get a much better view of the 3D. You want to be kind of centre on the screen, and because it wraps around. And certainly I feel that when you're on Soarin'. And that might be the case on Ratatouille because they use kind of a trio of... Do we sit in cheeses or did I imagine? No, mice.
Yeah,
You're
mice.
just mice. Trio of mice. It might be the people on the edges get the slightly blurrier thing. But in which case, that's not great, is it? That 2/3 of people don't get the best effect.
People are getting travel sick from it and stuff.
I get horrendously
Yeah.
travel sick from it. And
I
from
don't know.
Star Tours.
I don't know. The thing is, it was designed as a 3D ride, so to get rid of the 3D element kind of... I don't know. It just doesn't quite seem right.
It doesn't work well enough for me to miss it if they take it away.
Also,
Yeah.
there's an upkeep element with the glasses.
Yeah, is it more cost cutting at the end of the day, or is it because is it cost cutting? But they can say, it's because feedback is it makes people sick.
They could just give everybody a pair of 3D glasses when they come to visit, and then they can just use them on the rides that they use them on and take them home.
They
Put it as
wouldn't
part of
give
the cost.
people things, Chris. Come on, get your head on straight.
Emily
They'd
says-
do what the cinemas do and charge you £4 for each pair, wouldn't they?
Emily says, I hate the 3D glasses. It doesn't work with my vision, but it's better than the blur. Aaron says, good, the 3D element made me really motion sick. Sarah says, my hubby loves the 3D. Kira, it doesn't need the 3D. Kerry, I only really noticed the 3D with a champagne bottle at the end.
Fair.
Faye says, scrap the 3D. It gets blurry for me too, and it gives me headaches straight into watch. Nat, it's blurry to me and my husband. Star Tours 3D is less blurry though. Lisa found Ratatouille blurry. Oh, get rid of it, guys.
I
Yeah,
wonder
get
though
rid.
whether part of
Bonnie says, like and subscribe.
I wonder whether part of the willing suspension of disbelief is in the fact that you're wearing those glasses, and the blurriness and the fact that it's not quite right just lets you kind of just throw yourself into it. Whereas without the glasses there, will you feel like you're falling through a window? Will all that stuff feel the same? I don't know. Maybe it will.
I think when what's he called?
Gusto.
Gusto. When he flies out as a little fairy.
Yeah.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
But that's all I could say for the 3D.
What's
Emily
next though?
says,
Spider-Man Web Adventure?
well, yeah, Emily's just
Yeah.
said Web Slingers 3D is fine too. And do you know what? It is to the point where I'd forgotten that was 3D.
Well, do you know something? You can say that it is, but it's like well, I was going to swear then. It's like a right mess in your head watching that game, playing that game. I
Yeah.
find because there's so much going on the screen,
Yeah.
you can't focus on any of it anyway.
No.
You-
Oh,
there's
God, I
no-
love it. I love that game so much.
It's like watching Transformer film.
Oh, I want to go on Web Slingers right now. I love Web Slingers. I went on twice without Hugh and Bonnie because they wanted... What did you rope drop? Crusher's Coaster?
Yep.
And they went and rope dropped Crusher's Coaster, which I am not going to do. So I rope dropped Web Slingers and got straight on, and then did it again as a single rider and got straight on. And by the time I'd met them, I'd done it twice and been to the loo.
Nice.
Kira says Mickey and Minnie's is not 3D and works super well. This is the Mickey and Minnie
It
in
does.
Florida.
That's different technology though, because that's not screens. It's projection mapping onto 3D scenery.
So it is. So it's like literally 3D.
It's literally 3D.
To be fair, it's not like it's screens.
It's yeah. Again, I love that ride. Love that ride.
If it works and it saves them money, because I know it's a bit of a squeeze at the moment for Disney, they're struggling for money and stuff. So they can do something to reduce the outgoings. Then why not?
Yeah, so they can afford to pay those poor CEOs what they're worth.
Yeah.
Bonnie has said Cush Foster is good. What are you on about there, love?
Crush Coaster. I
Cush
imagine.
Foster.
Okay.
Good old Cush Foster.
Hey, we all make typos. Don't be shaming her. I did notice that Bonnie, did the iPad run out because you switched to Mummy's account? She was upstairs laughing. Yeah, so do you know what? We've spent all this time doing the news. It's actually been quite a lot to talk about this week. We can keep going if you want.
Not going to get through 3 trip reports today.
Certainly not.
Certainly not.
Emily points out that Ratatouille changed its direction much more than Star Tours and Web Slingers, so maybe it's a pairing of the trackless element too. Yeah, and you're inevitably going to move your own head as well. Whereas in particularly Star Tours, you're not, are you?
No.
You're going to just stare straight forward, sat up, bolt upright. Whereas that motion, yeah, that could be the problem. Either way, I'm willing for them to experiment with it as 2D, see what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Right. Sorry, what we're doing? Trip reports.
Yes.
Audience trip roundup.
I just thought I'd put a P on the end of that. We've got a few trip reports, but we'll probably only get through one maybe today, maybe 2 if we're lucky. This first one here, I'm going to have to close it to find out who it's from. It's from Natasha Grant. Thank you, Natasha. And Natasha has sent in a report from November last year, so it is a bit of an old one, but it's an oldie but a goodie. It's an oldie but a goodie. My partner and I got engaged at DLP in late November, and while I somewhat selfishly wanted to send this trip report to create a time capsule of the day, I truly think we had the perfect day at DLP, making the most of every second while fully embracing the Disney magic. It was just the 2 of us, and both of our first time doing Disney as adults. The day before.
Prequel.
Yeah. The day before. I'll start our perfect day the night before for context. We flew into France on the Saturday, checking into Relais Spa Val d'Europe. Our short stay was perfect. Staff were helpful and warm, and the room was immaculate. We took their shuttle, a very comfortable Mercedes minivan, I nearly said Viniman then, minivan, to Disney Village around 6 p.m, sharing with another couple. After a quick wander around the shops, we headed to Newport Bay, where we would stay Sunday to Wednesday. Before our trip, I read that you can check in the night before you stay at Disney Hotel, which is indeed true. We collected our magic passes, combined park ticket and room key, so all we had to do was drop off our luggage in the morning and head to the parks. The luggage drop queue is separate to the reception queue, so this is a brilliant way to minimise waiting and maximise park time.
Always a positive.
Absolutely. Skyline Bar. I'm doing a different voice for every heading here. Skyline Bar. To celebrate our success in checking in, we headed to the Skyline Bar in the Art of Marvel Hotel. We loved the theming of the bar. It's subtle and elegant, but exciting to see Spider-Man swinging past the window or Iron Man fly by.
Does he? Do they?
Yeah.
Huh,
Yeah.
didn't know that.
The staff are friendly and enthusiastic, and the cocktails and food were delicious. As a trainee lawyer, I had to try the She-Hulk cocktail, and my partner opted for Le Pouvoir de Vibranium, power of vibranium. Do you like my French Yorkshire accent?
It sounded delicious.
Le Pouvoir de Vibranium.
Delicious.
Vibranium. We left the bar around 8 p.m. and after another wander around the village, we took the shuttle back to Relais Spa and settled in for an early night, ready for our first park day. Oh, yeah. First park day. We were awake at 6 a.m., hoping to be en route to Newport Bay by 7 a.m. to ensure we made the most of extra magic time, early magic hours from 8 a.m. After much faffing, sorry, these were abbreviations, and whenever I read the abbreviations on a trip report, I try not to read them as abbreviations and read them out loud, but I often get stuck. After much faffing, kind of like what I've just been doing, a temporarily lost wallet and a longer than anticipated wait for our Bolt, we got to Newport Bay around 7:30 a.m. Bag drop was quick, then we made a beeline for the parks and entered Disneyland just after 8 a.m. Bolt is a taxi service, just in case you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Is it like Lyft and Uber?
Uber, yeah.
Uber.
Bolt.
And Bolt has a Disney connection.
It does.
Is that deliberate?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Entered Disneyland just after 8 a.m. Wow, what a stunning place. From the moment you walk towards the Disneyland Hotel with the classics playing, the music, the magic builds. On Main Street, the Christmas decorations are spectacular with everything embellished to perfection. The park felt quiet when we entered, with frost on the ground and sun just peeking over the Disneyland Hotel.
That sounds so magical.
There's that magic we've been looking
there
for.
You go.
Well, as photographers know, that's golden hour, just after the sun's come up.
Yeah.
And if Iger could charge for the frost, he would. Continue.
Our first ride. In advance of our trip, we debated what our first ride of the trip would be. Knowing this was a significant and memorable decision we had to be sure of. In the end, we decided on Peter Pan's Flight. As 90s babies, Peter Pan is nostalgic for us both, and coupled with the ordinarily long wait times, we figured this was a sensible EMT choice. We walked through the castle to Fantasyland, reaching Peter Pan's Flight, PPF, to see a growing queue. Peter Pan's Flight was temporarily down due to a fault.
No.
While others committed to waiting, we decided Dumbo was a suitable alternative for a first ride.
Correct.
It turned out to be, in our opinion, a much better first ride. We selected our elephant, a green one. Each elephant was...
That's important information that we need to know.
It is.
Yeah.
That's the whole conversation in the queue, isn't it? Which elephant do you want?
Yeah.
It's the same with the teacups.
I was
There's
trying.
nothing worse than being one of the last ones in a batch, because then you get what
and
you
then
give them.
yeah.
Yeah, when your kid's got the heart set in a red car,
Yep.
and you're running towards it, and you see some other kid going towards it, you have to be like, you have to say, right, what's your second best one?
Yeah.
Manage your
Yeah.
expectations.
Yep. Each elephant was covered in a thin layer of frost, and we watched the sun rise behind the castle as we rose above Fantasyland. A perfect moment we will always remember.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
Very good at painting a picture here with your words.
I know.
Post Dumbo, Peter Pan's Flight was still down, so we made a break for Adventureland, hopping on Pirates, possibly my favourite ride.
Yep.
The warmth inside was welcome in contrast to the frosty outdoors, and we loved noticing new details each time we went on during our trip. Particularly loved the little piglet running in its sleep. With extra magic time over, we needed a quick bite to eat. A shared Mickey bayonet and beignet. I do this every time. Thank you. It's like your dwarves.
Dwarves.
Beignet. It catches. It's because when you're reading straight off the page,
Yeah.
it's like Hermione in the flipping Harry Potter books.
Yeah. I read the whole first book, calling her Hermione in my head.
Hermione. Even now, a shared Mickey beignet and coffee was plenty to stave off hunger a little longer and keep our momentum going. We took advantage of the quiet castle and explored the Sleeping Beauty Gallery, a must-see. The stained glass windows, sculptures and balcony with views across Fantasyland.
We haven't been up there in ages, Huey.
Nope.
Why haven't we? It was shut for a while, was it?
Yeah, I think it's just because it was shut. And last time we went, we were with people with a pram, and it was just like, let's just skip it.
Yeah. Right.
We went there last
We're gonna
time.
We need to go up there
Yeah,
again.
go upstairs inside the castle, people, if you don't know.
And go downstairs as well.
There's some stuff up there. Upstairs, downstairs, and in my lady's chamber.
After this, we made our way back into Fantasyland. It's a Small World, then Teacups. My partner then guided us past the castle and down to Snow White Wishing Well as a more scenic shortcut to Discoveryland.
Very good. Good work, yes.
We did that last time we were there. I wasn't aware you could do that, so that was quite a nice little one.
When they've got castle shows on, quite often you can't.
Yeah, because they come in through there.
That's like their backstage.
That's the secret corner there.
It is, but I think at the moment you can.
Yeah. It was at the Wishing Well that he proposed.
What?
I did start this by saying that they got engaged, didn't I? It's not that big a shock.
Did you?
I know,
Yeah,
but
I did.
everybody gets engaged at Disneyland Paris, but the Wishing Well is such a
It's a
lovely
great spot.
moment.
Despite being in Disneyland, this was a quiet spot, the perfect choice. After a brief sit down on the very cold stone benches at the castle stage to collect our thoughts, in a daze we continued our journey to Discoveryland, grabbing a box of popcorn and hopping straight on Star Tours. This was
I love the fact that they've just got engaged and someone looked at the app and went, yeah. Star Tours is only a 15-minute wait. You know what I mean? It's like priorities.
This was an error of judgment. I immediately felt motion sick, having to shut my eyes for the duration, hoping it would end quickly. We took a breather following this, and the next few hours passed in a blur. Around 4 p.m, we then left the park to freshen up before dinner. Luggage collection was quick, and while our key didn't immediately work in Newport Bay, this was quickly remedied after a long wander back to reception for my new fiancée. I have to say, when Laura and I got engaged, the entire day was just a blur because all of a sudden we were messaging people and people were ringing up and chatting. Like, it was just non-stop. It was brilliant. Manhattan Restaurant. We were at Disney though.
Because we went to the pub.
Did you? Yeah. Awesome. Manhattan Restaurant. At 5:55 p.m, we hurriedly waddled into the Manhattan Restaurant for our 6 p.m. reservation. Wrapped in countless layers and well prepared for a late night at the parks, we started our meal with a bottle of champagne to toast our engagement, followed by mains and desserts. The food was beautifully presented and yummy, and our service was the perfect balance of attentive and discreet.
yeah.
Ooh.
I like it.
I like
it.
We left the Art of Marvel at 8 p.m, headed for the Studios Park. Studios Park. This was Sunday, and we knew Crush's Coaster was scheduled to be down on Tuesday and Wednesday for our trip, so Crush was our priority. The queue flew by, and while we enjoyed the ride, it wasn't our favourite. We had a little time to kill before the fireworks, so we went to La Place de Remy. What a beautiful, romantic little area. The park felt almost empty, and ratatouille was my fiance's new favourite phrase. A walk-on. We loved how immersive the ride was, and the theming was magical throughout the queue ride and the exit area. We returned to visit Remy throughout the trip, with Ratatouille a definite favourite. And you didn't get motion sickness there. That's really good as well. Disney Dreams. We then left studios, returning to Disneyland for Disney Dreams. We found a quiet spot near the popcorn stand to the left of the castle with a fantastic view. It was beautiful to watch others sing along and be truly immersed in the experience. Exhausted, cold, but full to the brim with Disney magic, we wandered back to Newport Bay for an early night to prepare ourselves for Park Day 2 of 4. This was our perfect Disney day, and we squeezed in more than we thought possible, making such special memories at the same time. Top tip! Throughout the trip, I kept a note on my phone with details of particularly brilliant cast members, listing their name, role and details of the interaction. I have since emailed DLP to compliment these individuals. We had no negative experiences with cast members, but some individuals were particularly kind, warm and authentic, and I hope they receive the recognition they deserve for making our trip so magical.
Hear, hear.
There you are. And that, as I say, is from Natasha. Congratulations, Natasha, and I'm glad you had a really good time.
Great report.
Well, just inspired by that report, Joey has just thrown in a little would you rather to end the show with. Would you rather get engaged on It's a Small World or Hyperspace Mountain? I mean, that's a no-brainer for me because It's a Small World is my spirit ride, as we've discussed before. Boys?
Hyperspace Mountain.
It would be fun to go, will you marry me? You are? Will you marry me? Are you being serious? Yeah.
I do like when I see people have done it by holding up a sign at the photo spot on rides with photo spots. Yeah. So the person sat next to them doesn't see it, but they do it to the camera. Yeah. However, I've had experience where photos have gone wrong. Specifically, when I did Run Disney, I just wanted to get I'd paid for the photo pass. There were no blooming photo pass photographers there. I felt diddled out of it. All the queues were like 70 minutes. And I thought, just choose one that's got a photo on it. And so you can have a picture of you holding up your medals on a ride. That's what I wanted. So I went on Pirates, queued on my own, because I was on my own for like an hour.
You know where this is going, don't you?
My feet were pounding. I just wanted to sit down because I'd run 36 kilometres, held up my medals to the camera, and the person in front of me went,
Listeners,
couldn't see
holding her hands up.
and doing a big face and just basically blocked every inch of me. And I'd waited an hour to do that, and it ruined my week. It ruined my weekend.
Oh,
Nothing could have ruined
mate.
that weekend. It was an amazing weekend. However, that still makes me go, God damn you.
Yeah.
Aaron says, Hyperspace Mountain, obviously, just before the launch. That's the time, isn't it?
At the very,
timing
very
on.
moment.
Will you?
Oh, that would be quite cool, actually. That's better than It's a Small World, because then you've just kind of got to endure a very slow boat ride while you kind of talk about it. I quite like that idea. Going,
Oh, this weekend, by the way, Bonnie's listening too. Our old friend Amy,
yes,
they just got engaged in front of the Trevi Fountain
Oh,
very
that's nice.
in Rome.
Aroma.
Amy used to babysit Bonnie when she was like 2, and I remember once she went, "These are the people I love. I love Mummy, I love Daddy, I love Grandma, I love Granddad, and I love Amy."
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a totally different thing. And
Well-
is there any more business people?
No, we're out of time.
If you'd like to send a trip report, you can send it to mailbox at 37disneystreet.co.uk, or you can message us on any of those social media type places where we exist, and we'll sort it out and get you on here. We've got a couple more trip reports for next week, potentially. Yeah.
And if there's anyone here who crochets, we are still in the process of crocheting our charity blankets that we are going to auction for Dementia UK. All I need from you is a 15 centimetre granny square in a colour and a style of your choice, but we like it to have a Disney theme. Chris is going to hold up an example of a Disney themed granny square to you now.
Who's this from, Chris?
This has come through from Tracy. Tracy sent this through on a message yesterday and said, "I've completed the first square, hoping to do more, but I was wondering if Lucy needs plain squares also, in Disney colours, obviously."
Plain square, yeah, anything.
Yeah.
So
I
this-
think it would be nice if
listeners,
they weren't all
this
detailed
one we're
pictures,
looking at
actually.
now is white
Yeah.
with a
For
red trim.
balance, some that were just kind of Disney
with a
bounding.
Mickey
Disney
head
bounding, yeah.
in
So
the
it doesn't
middle.
need to be a, like, maybe not a single colour, though. Like a single colour square. But
I've got an idea for a good Disney bounded one next week that I'll
There you go.
do as an
Okay.
example. Yay.
yeah.
So, thank you so much. And if you want to do that, send us a photo of it, and then Chris will send you the address details. We're not publicising our address details before then. And thank you all very much for being here with us today.
Bonnie's pressing
been Lucy.
the heart frantically, I can tell.
These have been the boys. Bye-bye.
I haven't pressed the finish button because we've got an extra Magic Time show now for our Patreon subscribers.
Oh,
so
we
I just
do,
wanted
don't
to
we?
point out that we'll be doing that now for you guys. If you want to be a Patreon subscriber, the details in the description. It's £3 a month, and we do extra shows. We do quizzes and all sorts of stuff there. And the other thing I wanted to say was something else. What else did I want to say, Lucy?
Don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, we're not here next week. We've said it already, but I'm just saying it again just for good measure.
We'll try and remind you on the socials. Hopefully, I'll set a reminder, and then we'll try and remind you the week after to get some Blue Heat tackies to try along with us on the show.
There you go. So I've been Lucy. These have been the boys. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And the boys.